Hello everyone, in today's PT podcast, PT National has decided to do it on wellness. The reason why is the term that's loosely used in today's market, I suppose, and we believe that it's important to get, I suppose, clarity on the situation and also to see where the role of fitness and how it plays as fitness professionals in guiding and supporting clients in their way to that completeness of wellness. When we think of wellness, and if you were to close your eyes and think, well, what is wellness? You may come to terms with what is happiness. So happiness is that ability to look at areas of your life and say, hey, I'm doing okay and I'm enjoying myself, and all the people around myself in my circle are also happy, and they can leverage off you and you can leverage off them and vice versa. So it's almost like you've got this really happy equilibrium or chi amongst all your circle and within your circle of influence and your circle of control within you. So what are some of the aspects, I suppose, that will affect our well-being? So it may be the physical, and that's where fitness professionals would come in, and that's the ability to move and have mobility, flexibility, allow our joints, our muscular tenderness, system to work really well, and to wake up in the morning and feel pretty good, as opposed to other clients that we see. They wake up in the morning and they say, I don't want to be in pain anymore. So that is one factor that does affect our wellness, and it does affect our morbidity, in terms of the rate and how long we can live and so on. So, and if we're not feeling good, then we don't want to get off the couch and don't want to move and so on. So other factors may be the metaphysical. So if you look at the world in terms of energy transfer, there's always energy around us. And how does that play in all that we do? Whether you have, good biorhythms, low biorhythms and so on. If you want to link it to, I suppose the gravity of the moon and how that affects our mood, even just the weather. All those things affect our metaphysical being. Then we've got our spiritual and our religious aspects to our lives. Whether we're religious or not, we all have a spiritual dimension, and it's all our wondering of where what is our place in the world, and what we can do for others and for ourselves that will help the forces that are greater than ourselves. Then we can also look at wellness in terms of the social dimension. So, are you social? Are you with family and friends? Do you go out and have acquaintances? Do you have a best friend and things like that? Because that all does affect our well-being and our state of happiness as well. It was really nice. A client said to me, I asked him, what does it mean for you to be happy? And the client said, so that someone is thinking about me. And I thought that was an amazing thing. So not only are they doing things for others, but just someone has the thought about them. They don't have to physically call them or anything like that, but just having that sense of peace, knowing that other people are thinking of them. And I thought that was really nice, because you won't always know that at first hand unless someone did physically call you or want to catch up and so on. So there are many factors that affect our wellness, and we need to be conscious about what levels they should be, I suppose, at different times of our lives. There is no denial that happiness through work is a very big component. We're at work pretty much 70 to 80% of our day, and then we come back to our family life and so on, and it's important to be happy at work. I have lots of clients that want to have lifestyle changes, and it always comes back to the idea that I'm not happy at work. It's very rare that they say that I'm not happy at home. It's usually vice versa. And the interesting thing with wellness is when someone is not feeling good, they may feel anxious or depressed, or even those lesser feelings of, I just have worry, but they all come under the facet of fear. They all, at the end of the day, physically, their body is saying, I need change. I need to move and I need change in my life. So this is where fitness professionals come in. So through movement, it allows them to consciously focus on a task, which in turn moves them away from the subconscious into the conscious state, and then that allows them to look at something with a different lens. So for example, one client the other day, if we're boxing, for example, the client then starts thinking about work, because it's quite a monotonous, routinely type of exercise. However, when I get the client to do a tire push or a sled pull, it's quite different, because it's a very task-orientated exercise. They have to physically focus, and they said they love doing these complex movements that require a lot of power and force because they have to focus. If they don't focus, they're going to hurt themselves, or they're not going to be actually move the weight. So as fitness professionals, it's important to decide what type of exercises should accompany a client's exercise program based on their goals. But if it's based on a wellness program, you should be conscious of those type of movements. However, there is the flip side. So let's say a client is highly stressed at work, or they're quite a leadership role. They may be in the corporate world and they have a leadership responsibility. Now, it's important that you can't overstress them either through exercise, because at the end of the day, lifting a load is stress on the body. So it's so crucial to find that fine point between challenging a client and overtraining a client, which in turn may injure them. And that's where a fitness professional must decide where is their level of scope to how much they can push a client, but not push them over the lip, and then they get injured, or they do not feel good about themselves because they failed, or because it set them back weeks on end, and therefore they feel like they're going backwards. And this is really common amongst clients who approach you in their 40s and 50s, and they start an exercise program. Within the first 6 to 8 weeks, they injure themselves. So it's really important that you understand that part. The other thing that's quite interesting about why clients come and see fitness professionals, I have lots of clients that come because of a social component. They're quite healthy people, but they don't have anyone to talk to. And this is where that professional scope comes in. Everything is confidential, but I do not encourage clients to disclose too much, but I'm also a tabletop in which I will listen to them. And, I'm not one to give advice because I'm not a psychologist, but just listening alone is a huge asset for them, because you are their third space. So between that working life and home life, you are that third space. So just listening can do wonders for your clients. So you may choose, if you're a gym or a PT studio, you may choose to have social events as well, or allow clients to mingle amongst one another to create that social component. That's why CrossFit does so well, because it is driven by a social aspect, and that's something that the fitness industry was lacking. A lot of these boutique gyms were doing so well; they'd have programs, but people weren't really going to these social events unless it was a Christmas party. And then again, you'd usually just go with your own partner or the only people you train with, or if it's in your circuit class. So it is important to encourage the social component. You can't force it upon clients, definitely, but a lot of clients do approach different gyms for that specific reason. Okay, it's not always about the gym equipment. It's not always about the talent of the coaches, but can you create that community feel? And that's a very important aspect to wellness. I suppose other things with wellness is understanding where you are in your age and what life experiences you should be feeling. Okay, usually that whole 30 to 40 age group is that age where the whole where am I going with the career that I was that I'm currently in, and it's usually a preconceived career based on your family or friends' influence. And then you get to a point, and you realize, hey, I do have other interests. And we tend to find a lot of students or learners that enroll in our courses are definitely those people. They've done something a certain number of years to please their parents, and then they get to a point they go, wait a minute, I have other interests. I would like to continue doing that, but I also would like to work in the fitness industry. Or I know I'm really passionate about helping others. I would like something, but they have to then take that or have that courage to take the step. And it's quite interesting. People still in their 30s are still influenced by their parents and go, I just don't know. And I always say to them, you can make a very lucrative career out of the fitness industry. And it was really nice the other day. A client of mine decided to go back. She was in the fitness industry, worked in the sporting industry, actually, in a leadership management role, and then decided to go back into fitness. And she knows she can make the money. And she realized that for her to feel good about herself and feel well, she went back to it. And it's quite a revolving door type of process that occurs within fitness professionals, and it's great. And I was one of them. I did my Cert 3 and Cert 4. I let it go, worked as an educator, and did everything I wanted to do. And look at me now. I went back into the fitness industry as an educator and absolutely loving life. And I have to admit, my family and I, we'd like to consider ourselves as feeling really good and really happy, and that wellness factor is excellent. But we work worked very hard at it. And that's the other thing as well. You can't expect it to come to you. Okay, you must be very clear as to what you want. You must have some moving towards goals as well as moving away from goals. And for every one of them that you write down, what is one action you can take, which then will help you move towards becoming happy. From there, you have to decide who you need, or sponsors or mentors you need to support you in becoming happy. Okay. That's a very important aspect. It was really interesting. I went and saw a friend the other day, and his father is not well. He's in palliative care, and it really brought home the idea of what keeps us going as humans. What are the fundamental things in our lives that keep us going? And it was simply 3 things. And firstly, number 1, it was nutrition. My friend's father had to eat in order to keep his muscles in his throat working, and it was it just opened my eyes up that at the end of the day, we must eat something. We must have a nutritional balance into our lives. Now, the other aspect for our survival as human beings is the ability to move. As long as we move, our muscles are working. We do not have atrophy, we'll have hypertrophy just like a baby. And because of that, we have blood flow. And because of blood flow, our organs are functioning. And that's all we need. And then the third dimension is the most important one. And that's a willingness to do those 2 things. If anything, at the end of the day, your understanding of what is wellness are those 3 things. The ability to have good nutrition, the ability to move no matter what, and the consciousness to do those 2 aspects. I suppose the other thing in understanding wellness is looking at where did you come from and where you're going. So understanding your past and your present and looking in the future. A lot of people tend to look or work too much into the future, and then sometimes every now and again it's good to come right into the present and say, what am I doing right now? Now, when we're moving into those 2 states, you must understand where you came from. Okay, so how did your family and friends influence you? How did your school life influence? How did your workplace influence? How did your circle in your younger life influence? And look at it not as a negative thing, but as an exciting aspect to say, hey, these people shaped me. Okay, and how do they shape me, and what can I do with it? So what assets, what talents did I gather from those things? Then you must ask yourself, on a day-to-day basis, what is your personal mantra? So when you wake up in the morning, do you wake up going, oh, I've got to go to work today. Oh, geez, I really have to exercise, but I don't feel like it. Now, it's not rocket science, but that's not the best mantra to start your day. So when you start your day, you may actually plan it the night before and say, when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to tell myself, today I'm having a great day. No matter what happens, I'm having a great day. And the classic example I always come back to is your birthday. 9 times out of 10, we have a pretty good birthday. I know we tend to, loathe over the age that we're turning, but at the end of the day, no matter what happens in your day, if you even have a really shit day, it doesn't matter because it's your birthday. And people are going to call you or SMS you or want to cut cake or go out for dinner and so on because it's your birthday. So why not every day have your birthday? So no matter what happens, you're going to have a great day. Now, I'm someone that's not in denial. I know everyone's going to have challenges in our lives. That's what makes us human. That's what makes us stronger. It's what makes us better. Okay. One of our friends, Kelsey, she's over in Rio for the Olympics. So in her inaugural javelin event, and she came to the embassy where Peter National resides, and we asked her to write on our inspiration wall, and she said, well, this is one thing she got from a coach, and there's no comfort in the growth zone and there's no growth in the comfort zone. And I just think, wow, doesn't that explain everything? This is a young lady, an Olympian, and she realizes she must work continually out of her comfort zone in order to move forward. So the question is, will you ever be comfortable? All my clients know that comfort for me and for them is a very dangerous state, because if you're stagnant, then you're moving backwards because society is moving forwards. Okay, so it's important to understand where your place is and how are you slightly moving forward. I'm not saying jump forward in leaps and bounds. It's not that. Being consistent is definitely moving forward. A lot of clients say, but I didn't lose weight this week. And I say, snap out of it. The fact that you maintain weight is a gain for me. I do not care about always losing weight. Okay, it's the ability to maintain, which in turn, physiologically, your body's changing for the next steps in the future. So it's important to understand that it's not always about moving forward. Just even maintaining is moving forward. One thing I definitely recommend, and this is something we do with our staff, we do with our clients and so on, and that is there's a program called StrengthsFinder 2.0. And you can jump on the net and you just type in 34 strengths or 34 talents, and it'll give you a list of 34. And what the program's designed to do is you pick the 5 of them. You only have to pick 5 out of 34. Now you're going to say, but I've got 7, I've got 8. I'm really indecisive as to which ones I can pick, but you must only pick 5. And then from those 5, you must think, well, they're my talents. Now, your talents are the things that you're born with, okay? You don't consciously go out for them. You're born with them, but then they do evolve over time. And unless you do this activity, it's really hard to understand how you relate to other people. And one thing I love about the human condition is that I would never judge a person. The reason why is because psychologically they've had their entire life to build their brain as to what it is today. So for example, if they look at you in a certain way or they say something, it's like, well, it's got nothing to do with that person. It's just the way their brain has developed over time. Okay, so one thing I've learned through my own mentors is that you should name the behavior, impact the what has it have on you, and then what are your next steps or corrective action in order to move forward. So these are the steps you can take to develop resilience, problem solving, and also conflict resolution as well. Because at the end of the day, what does it do? It helps us become happy, and it gives us a wellness program. So where does fitness come in all of this? Now, I've been alluding through it back and forth throughout this presentation. And it is simply one thing, the ability to move. One thing I love from the mentors that I've had, and when they've told me about major events that they've had in their lives, I said, how did you get beyond that financially and also mentally? And they said, Eric, just keep moving. And that's all I can say to you. One thing you need to take out of this presentation today is just keep moving. Okay, the body, when it's moving, the brain will have blood flow. Okay, if you can jog, that's even better. When you're trying to make big conscious decisions, what are you doing? I recommend that you should go for a jog. The reason why, because you've got a lot of grey matter activating, and then it allows you to make a clear conscious decision. One thing I do now is that I don't make a big conscious decision unless I've gone for a run and I've thought about it first. So these are little strategies that I've developed, and I wonder what can you develop in order to make, I suppose, life-changing decisions in your life. On top of that, who can you ask? Who in your circle can you leverage off to help you collate the evidence and make these nice conscious decisions in order to be happy? Personal trainers have a huge part to play. It's not about being smashed in the gym. It's about finding the right program that suits that person. You know, boxing is a great way to deload, to de-stress. If you've had a hard day at work, you may do it to start your session. You may do it to finish your session, depending on where you're at and how you feel. And you can actually direct your personal trainer as well. Like, you don't have to just be in the beck and call of them. You can say, hey, today I really had a stressful day. Just please be conscious about throwing big weights with me or complex movements, because I'm not thinking very clearly. Or the personal trainer may choose to debrief with you first, take a few notes and so on. On the flip side, I think as personal trainers, we must know who our level of scope and who we can refer clients onto. If we're talking about mental illness issues and things, we do have allied health, such as psychologists, counsellors and so on, that are the best for this. But it doesn't mean we can't be a listening platform for these clients, but it's important that you take notes as well and you keep a client register. So I'd like to conclude by saying, one, to the personal trainers out there or those who are becoming Australia's fitness ambassadors, is that see your value as a fitness professional in helping clients move towards a program of wellness. Wellness has so many dimensions, and it's not loosely said. It's important to understand that you won't peak in everything in life. Okay, as one peaks, the other one will lower, and so on. It's about finding that equilibrium at certain times in your life and trying to do it consciously, not always subconsciously, where it just throws you away and you just don't know what to do and you have to take immediate acute reactions. I think it's important to plan I think planning is important. It reduces that element of fear and anxiety, and that's all that emotion is telling you. It means that you're not prepared. In terms of, clients and trying to attain wellness, I think it's important to know who you should ask and guide and have guidance from. I don't think you should just ask anyone, hey, can you help me, and so on. I think it's important to target where you want to go in life and who you can leverage off. And I think you should ask for the best. Don't settle for second best for yourself. I think you should be very selective as to who you want in your life to mentor you or to guide you. I think that's a really important component. But one thing that's important, wellness and happiness, we believe are intertwined as one. With all the dimensions that make up wellness, I think at the end of the day, it makes you happy and it allows you to sleep at night. So I thank you for listening to this podcast. It's a very important one for us at PT National, because we see this in our learners. We see this in the great team of people that we work with, and that's what keeps us passionate in everything that we do. And we hope we can pass it on to you.